Hi, welcome back. My name is Nick Cassiati. We have three topics today. This is our third and final topic. We are going to tackle between our guests the U.S. national debt. It's looking to cross $30 trillion soon. This seems like an inconceivable number to most Americans. With the pandemic, U.S. assistance to foreign countries, and current policies, the U.S. is amassing a debt that looks uncontrollable. How do we rein in the national debt, Pod? Do we rein it in? Does the debt matter anymore? And if not, if the national debt doesn't matter, then what's the point of taxes? Go ahead, Pod.
Well, first of all, I think everybody in Congress should be required to watch the movie Dave. You know, the time they sat around and balanced the budget. I think you have to be the people has to start being fiscally responsible. Government has to be fiscally responsible. There is a lot of waste out there. And, personally, I feel our government is probably one of the biggest, one of the biggest crime syndicates around. They steal, they take the money, they try to justify it some way, and we never see it again. It goes somewhere. It's always helping somebody. So it's unbelievable, the debt. 30 trillion is just an amazing number. But, people need to start running it like they would run their life, like people that are fiscally responsible, fiscal conservative. So we do. We sit back, we look at our spending for the day. What can I spend? I need this for food. I need this. I need this. I need this. I need to work myself to get this done. I don't need the government to give me the money to make ends meet. So that's one way. Just try to pull it in. But I just think that these people, they get so much power in government, and that the power of the pen, and just no one questions them enough. And we as
Sure.
citizens need to question that more.
So Austin, you're with the Green Party in Ohio. I don't even know how many zeros are in $30 trillion. It's just a massive number to me. At this point, does it even matter anymore?
We can't even fathom that big of a number. Like, our human brains cannot even comprehend how big of a number that is. We need to look at where our biggest expense is coming from. And to be honest, 70 some odd percent is going to our empire and war. 800 military bases abroad, currently occupying 100 countries. Under Obama, we went from 4 military bases in Africa to occupying 95 countries in Africa. Under the Trump administration, we went from 15,000, 20,000 troops in Japan to over 60,000 troops in Japan. Cool, we're pulling out of Germany and Pakistan. The Iraqi parliament has voted us to get out of their country, but we insist on staying. They want us gone, but we're there. We're occupying many countries abroad. There is Agent Orange radiation leaking in the soil in Korea, left over from the Vietnam War, that's improperly stored. We are starting a new Cold War with China. 中国不是我的敌人. China's not our enemy, we just spending an insane amount of money, no questioning, because of the patriotism we learn in our country. We can't even question the military budget, even though we spend more than the next 8-9 countries combined. Upgrading our nuclear arsenal for no reason.
So moving on to Kyle, I mean, from a libertarian standpoint, like this is a number that I just can't in my mind fathom, right? So am I, as a taxpayer, on the hook for $30 trillion?
Well, if you are, you're never going to see the light of day again. I agree with a lot of things that Austin said as far as militaries overseas. Of course, we want to rein that in, but that's a small, actually, drop in the bucket for the deficits. The good news is most of the debt that we have is from Medicare and Medicaid, or Medicare and Social Security is the biggest contributors to our debt. And actually, most of our debt is owed to the American people. So we're actually lying to the American people in the future, telling them that we are going to pay them money when we may not have it, because I think we have more deficits than GDP for 2019. So basically, we're promising money that we don't have. So that's bad. The good news is we are still our credit is still there, and as long as the dollar is the preferred currency in the world, we'll be fine. But we do risk losing that status, and if we do, I think we'll be in big trouble.
David, I mean, we're talking about big numbers here. We're talking about big deficits. We're talking about big budgets. It's really hard for me as a voter to understand any of it, all of it. I mean, what does it all mean?
Okay, so first, is it a massive problem? No, there's no evidence that there is. All right, as long as we keep our good credit score, as long as we, avoid something like the, psychotic Tea Party holding us ransom with the government shutdown, where we had for the first time ever our, AAA rating like take a small, tiny hit. Right? If we avoid that moving forward, it's like we're going to be okay. But the most important thing is not whether or not we have the debt. It's what are we spending it on? Okay, because Pod was saying, we should be like fiscal conservatives. Okay, in politics, throughout my lifetime, through over 4 decades, all right, fiscal conservatism has been an oxymoron. It doesn't exist. All right, the debt explodes under conservatives every single time. They'll talk a big game when it comes to taking away any sort of expense that actually helps the American people. Okay, so if they want to take away healthcare, if they want to take away education, if they want to take away anything that's actually going to provide a benefit, because all of those things, we can go into debt. And if you go into debt to and you can do an analogy with yourself on that. Can I go into debt maybe to buy a house? Well, yeah, like the house is going to provide a return for me. It's something I actually need. Can I go into debt to get an education? Yes, I'll be able to go maybe, depending on how much debt, earn some more money. Those are certain things. Those are investments in our society that will be good, that are always a good idea. But Austin and others have already also outlined how much of our spending is absolutely insane. But most importantly, it's not just the spending, it's that we've basically cut the taxes for the most obscenely wealthy people in the entire world and in our country. Okay, the 2018 tax cut from the Republicans, all right? That basically was not just, the 1.7 trillion that, in deficit. What it really was a $4 trillion shifting of tax burdens, all right, onto future generations, but then also from the uber wealthy and the corporations onto the poor. All right, they were taking away tax credits that were people getting, and including like the state income tax, and it's absolutely bonkers. All right, so 30 trillion is absolutely astounding, but what we need to do is just look at what are we investing in, okay? Let's not worry so much about 30 trillion. There's no evidence that that's a huge issue. What we are investing in, the stuff Austin was outlining, that is what's really important. We need to invest more in education. We need to invest more in healthcare. We need to invest more in the American people.
The problem is people think they can grab the reins of power and do something good with it, but unfortunately, you're taking money from people who can do the most good and giving it to a group of people who have their own incentives, and they're going to implement programs that benefit them. They don't care about you. So if you could ever want to come to the Libertarian Party, all you have to do is admit to yourself that whatever program that we put in place to take money from people and do something good with it, that process
public roads, public schools, those are bad.
Those are not good because we can fund those, but people individually. Okay. Through their own self-interest, of course, those things are good. People would have that money. If you would stop taking that money, there would be less waste, and there would be more of that stuff, not less of it.
Austin, how do you make a Green Party argument in this right-left libertarian landscape? I mean, $30 trillion is it's massive. I mean, I don't understand it, right? So if I'm looking to vote Green, what's Green selling me on?
In Ohio specifically, our school funding is based on property taxes. This creates quite a problem, with more wealthy districts. They can offer more funding to their school system. However, in 1997, the same year I was born, not to make anyone feel old, but in 1997, that was ruled unconstitutional. So my generation, everybody younger than me, and everyone 5 or so years older than me, we have been systematically screwed by the system. My school district, we couldn't do anything. We're a poor rural school district in southeastern Ohio, so we didn't get to do anything. Meanwhile, these rich districts in Upper Arlington with million-dollar mansion homes got to provide unlimited opportunities to their students. Meanwhile, our average test score was much higher.
Sure. Sure, just to get a little more out of you, right? I'm not against you. I want to pull more information out of you for the viewer, right? So, I mean, $30 trillion. If I vote green into the White House or into Congress, are they going to tackle that number? Do they care about that number? I mean, tell me that perspective. If it was you
Absolutely.
being voted into Congress.
Our first step is abolishing the nuclear program, eliminating our nuclear stockpile. There's no reason for it nowadays. It's just a holdover from the Cold War and the scare tactics of anti-communism and oppression of working class people and third world nationalist communist sentiments, as well as defunding the military, 75%, pulling us out of every single foreign base, cleaning up the environmental disasters and hitting the bases back to the countries, as well as quickly working to reprogram and repurpose the Pentagon to creating a Department of Peace instead of a Department of Offense, and defunding the Pentagon as well.
Excellent. We have 2 minutes left. Pod, $30 trillion. Huge number for me to comprehend. If I'm voting you into Congress, I like that question. What would you do?
Well, first, I wouldn't send $700 million to Pakistan or to Sudan. I wouldn't send $10 billion to Pakistan for gender studies. I don't know how that's going to help us here at the United States. I would just cut the pork. Just like I agree with David. We need to focus on the people. You know, that's one thing Trump did. It was America first. Regardless if you like him or not, he was about, us. And, I would just sit down with other congressional people and say, listen, we need to tackle this and we need to focus on our country first and foremost, and then let everything else play out. But we still have to protect our borders. We still have to have, there's a reason we're in Japan, there's a larger number in Japan, because yes, China is the biggest force against us. So we need more people there.
China has one foreign military base in East Africa, and they were invited there in 2017.
And they're huge now. And there's a reason. Hey, is anybody talking about how Trump pulled us out of all the wars that the Bush and the Democrats kept us in?
We're still bombing 7 countries.
Yeah,
He's
and
pulled
we
us out of
committed
scare
war
and
crimes in
everything.
Afghanistan.
Those are details.
Yeah. So the thing is just watch. We got to get rid of some of these things that they're spending money on. Just keep
Foreign
it.
aid is a red herring, though. I mean, we don't spend a big portion of our budget on foreign aid. And honestly, the money going to Pakistan, all of the money we send to countries like that, it's approved by the military. They know that it's a good investment in peace because it's
Gender
going to
studies. $10
in
billion
countries where women have a stronger status in the society, where they're able to go to school, where they're able to go ahead and study, they are going to be more peaceful. All right. And when you're dealing with a nuclear power that's on sharing a border with India and a little bit of a dicey area that's only going to get more problematic as things go on, yeah, it's not a bad investment. All right. As opposed to the billions we'll throw at them to support their military just because we want to stay friendly with whoever's running the country at the time and make sure that those nuclear weapons don't fall in the wrong hand. It's yes, this is a smart investment.
But
Sure.
now,
Okay,
by
Kyle,
spending,
we've got it. We just have a couple minutes, a couple seconds left. Kyle, 30 seconds. Go ahead.
In the land of unintended consequences, giving money to foreign countries is probably not something we want to be doing at all. Bring that money home. Austin, I agree with you. We need to pull out of military bases. Hey, if we're defending the world, what the heck is everybody else doing? But we need to walk softly and carry a big stick.
Yeah, abolish war.
Well, we appreciate all of our guests coming on with us today. If you like me as a host, give me a thumbs up, share this on social media, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.